You're listening to The Monetized Mom, the podcast that teaches moms of faith how to monetize their expertise online to create influence, impact, income, and more importantly, financial independence. I'm your host, Fo Alexander. Let's chat. Hey, Money Mamas, welcome to the Monetized Mom podcast. I'm your host, Fo Alexander, and in this week's episode, it's going to be special. I'm going to be talking about how to create a sustainable business as a mom. So if you're interested in learning how, stay tuned. Now, before I get started, I want to share a free resource with you. The Monetized Mom Master Playbook is my 4-part framework for turning your expertise into a profitable online business. And yes, you heard right, it's free. You can grab it now at themonetizedmom.com/freebie. Again, that's themonetizedmom.com/freebie. Now let's get on with this episode. So this week's episode is a little special. It is actually a rewind of a live stream that I did a while ago, and it got such a great response that I thought I would share it here on the podcast. Some of you are new to me, so you would not have had the opportunity to be able to tune into this live stream. So I wanted to make sure you still got this very valuable and relevant information. So I'm sharing lots of gems, so be sure to grab a pen and paper to take notes, okay? So check it out. Today, I'm going to be talking about how to create a realistic and sustainable business as a mom. So I'm going to be talking about how to create a realistic and sustainable business as a mom. As a mom, we have limited time. We have sometimes limited resources. And so some of the rhetoric that I've seen from other coaches, not to throw shade or anything, just is not fitting for the lifestyle and the needs of a mom and the situation of a mom. So I'm going to be talking about how you can create a realistic business that's going to be both profitable, but also sustainable and fits your lifestyle. So if you are a mom, this is for you. Again, I'm going to be talking about how to create a realistic business model that is going to be sustainable and profitable for you as a mom. So I mentioned that this is going to be talking about how to create a realistic and sustainable business model as a mom. And the reason that I really wanted to talk about it today is because I find that a lot of business coaches are pushing strategies and ideas that are just not fitting for moms. And a lot of them happen to be single, who don't have kids. And so a lot of the things that they're saying, it's not necessarily wrong. It's just from the perspective of the life that they're living. But as moms, and particularly as working moms, a lot of the advice that I found that they give is just not realistic for our lives. And so I wanted to address it because I am both a mom and I am also a working mom who happens to have a business that I run full-time and earns me a very full-time type income. So I wanted to share some of the strategies that I have used to be able to create a business that's realistic for my life, but also sustainable. And I can tell you from the perspective of I started my business when I was single, then I got married, and now I am married with a child. And I've had to be able to make changes in my business to navigate each of those life pivots. And so it's very important to understand a strategy that works for this season of your life and not necessarily a season that's just not fitting for you. So the first thing that I really want to talk about when it comes to building a business as a mom, something that's going to be realistic and something that's going to be sustainable, the first thing that you need to do is to leverage your expertise. And this is something that I talk about all the time, turning your expertise into a business. You need to leverage your expertise. And the reason that this is so important is because you already know what you know. If you're an expert at something, you're not having to waste the time that it takes to learn, to develop, to understand, and get all the knowledge that you need. Leverage your expertise because that makes creating content, it makes creating products and offering services a lot easier, and you're able to hit the ground running because you're leveraging what you already know. So that's the number one thing. If you're going to create a sustainable business, a business that makes sense as a mom, especially a working mom, the first thing that you need to do is focus on your expertise, okay? What is it that you already know? What is it that you do in your career? What is it that you do already as a side hustle? What is a hobby that you want to monetize? Like, focus on those things that you already know so that you aren't having to waste time to try to build expertise in something else. If your skill set is organization and being able to do like organization and technical stuff like typing and that type of stuff, like, think about becoming a virtual assistant. Like, don't try to do something that's far out of your expertise. Focus on what you know, focus on what your expertise is, and build from there so that you can save yourself time. And it makes creating content and your products and your services so much easier. I'm telling y'all this from my own experience. When I first started my business, before it became a business, I was doing like lifestyle blogging, which was simple because I was talking about my life. But then I decided I wanted to pivot into DIY and craft. So I became a sewing blogger. Well, the thing was, I was blogging as I was learning to sew. So I was having to teach myself something that I'm not an expert in to then be able to make that a business. That wasn't sustainable. And so I was spending a lot of my time having to learn as I went, and as opposed to just going with something that I already knew. So then when I pivoted into personal finances, it made perfect sense because I knew money, I knew budgeting, I knew saving, like I knew all that stuff like the back of my hand. So I wasn't having to spend time trying to learn something while also trying to make it a business. So first things first, if you want to create a realistic business that allows you to be able to grow and be profitable on limited time as a mom, start with what your expertise is. What is your expertise? What do you do in your career? And don't even think about like, what is my job title, but what are those skills that you've learned in your career that can be leveraged to turn into a business? In my career is not finance. My career is in process improvement. I could easily use that to turn into a business where I improve processes and systems for other people. So think about what it is that you learn on your career. What is it that you've done? And use that as the foundation of your business. Don't try to venture out into, all this new stuff that it's not to crush any dreams if that's what you want to do eventually, but we're talking about moms, limited time, working mom, you want to build a business, focus on your expertise. What is it that you know? Okay. So after you have figured out what my expertise is, what is that one thing that I can focus in on? Then let's talk about your business model. How are you going to actually make money from that expertise? And the one thing that I really stress, and I actually talk about this in my ebook, Secure the Stack, is you have to create multiple streams of income. You have to create multiple streams of income. I know a popular piece of advice that's going around in the business coaching space is that you need to have one offer, focus on that one offer. Yes, I agree that you should have one like signature offer that you have, but you also need to diversify your income streams. And that's one thing that I feel like a lot of coaches aren't sharing. They're preaching having one offer, but then on the back end, they have like 5. So you want to have multiple streams of income from that one expertise. So that means you need to have some kind of service, and I'll talk about that. And then you also need to have products, and then you also need to have like passive income sources. So I'll break that down in a bit. So first things first, multiple streams of income. The first one is services. If your expertise allows, in most cases it should, there should be some kind of service that you should be able to offer in your business. Now, here's the caveat when it comes to services. Services are in exchange of your time for money. No matter how you spin it, if you're offering a service to someone, whether it's done for you or done with you, you are exchanging your time for money. So if you're going to offer a service in your business, it needs to be worth your time to do. That means you need to price it at a point where it makes sense for you as a busy mom to take time away from your children, your family, to take on additional work outside of your job for you to do it. You need to price it in such a way that it makes sense financially for you to do it. So offering services is a great way to make a lot of money in a short amount of time, but it's still time and you can't get time back, which means that you need to price appropriately. Okay. I remember a time when I would be offering like services for really, really cheap. And well, I don't want to say cheap, less than they were worth. And at the end of offering that service, I would be so frustrated because I spent so much time and the money wasn't even worth it. The money was not worth the time and the effort that I put into servicing those clients. So my lesson was, if I'm ever going to offer a service for anybody, then I'm going to price it at such a point that it makes sense and I'm not regretting taking on that client or that customer later on. So that is the caveat with services. You should offer a service. You need to diversify your income. But if you are going to offer a service, it needs to be priced at a point where it makes sense for you to take your time away from your family, away from whatever it is that you're doing. It needs to make sense. Okay. So diversify your income, have a service, but make sure it's priced at a point that makes sense. Okay. The second thing is you want to have services, but you also want to have products. And I preach, if you've been following me for a while, I preach digital products. I have sold physical products. I sold them as drop ships, which means I never had to hold inventory or anything. So if you do want to sell physical products, I definitely recommend drop shipping as an option for you, but digital products. And the reason that I say digital products are important for your business, one, because you can sell as many as you possibly can imagine, and you don't have to worry about holding physical inventory. You don't have to worry about shipping anything. Your income potential when it comes to digital products is unlimited. You make the product once and you can sell it hundreds of thousands of times. I can't tell you how many times I sold my budget template or my ebook. And not one time have I had to go and take anything to the UPS store or ship anything out. I haven't had to even think about it. I just got the money in from the sale. So you want to have a product, but my recommendation is to have digital products because this allows you to sell as many as possible, but it also allows you to have passive income, meaning you're not trading your time for money. You're not having to pack inventory. You're not having to look for space for inventory, but these things can be sold without you even being present. You make them one time, make some tweaks to them if you have to, but once they are created, you don't have to do anything else, but make sure you have a good marketing plan in place. So when it comes to products, my recommendation as a mom, if you're trying to build a realistic and sustainable business, have digital products. Digital products are things like printables, courses, templates. I got a whole video that talks about the different digital products that you can create, but you want to have something that's digital because it's passive, and the earning potential on digital products literally is unlimited. So keep that in mind. When you're creating your multiple streams of income, you want to consider services, but making sure that they're priced at a point where it makes sense for you to exchange your time for money. And then you also want to have products, and the products that I recommend are digital products so that they are passive and so that you have unlimited earning potential. And quite frankly, digital products are just easy to create. Literally, this is something that you can do in a couple of hours or over the weekend that can produce more money for you over and over again, time and time again. So think about digital products when it comes to building your income model. And when I'm talking about income model, I might call it a monetization model. That's something that I teach in the Monetized Mom. So we can talk about that later, but you have to have some kind of income plan that takes you away from having to exchange your time all the time to make money in your business. Okay. So we just talked about, if you're just joining, we're talking about how to create a realistic business model as a mom. You have limited time. Sometimes you have limited resources. And I've just been seeing a lot of coaches teaching people things that just aren't realistic or sustainable for moms. Things like going live every day, going live for long periods of time, being on social media. Like, as a mom, that stuff is not realistic for us. So I want to show you how to create a sustainable and realistic business, online business that allows you to make profit, but also to live your life. Okay. First things first, focus on your expertise. If you didn't catch that, the first thing you need to do when you're creating a business model or a realistic business model is focus on your expertise. What do you already know? So you aren't having to reinvent the wheel. Okay. So What is it that you do in your career? What is it that you do in your hobby that you know like the back of your hand? That's what you should leverage to build your business. Not to crush any other dreams that you may have or aspirations to do other things. But if we're talking about trying to build something realistic, sustainable, focus on what you already know, that you've learned from your job, that you learn from your hobby, that you can then monetize. Okay, that was the first thing. The second thing was create multiple streams of income. I talked about services and making sure when you do offer services, you're pricing it at a point where it makes sense to exchange your time that is very limited for money. So you need to price it at a point that makes sense. And then also having products, preferably digital products, that allow you to be able to make passive income, but that are also easy to make and that you don't have to have storage for, you don't physically have to do anything for, okay? So the third aspect of a realistic and sustainable business as a mom is passive income. Now, I already alluded to this when I talk about digital products, but there are other ways that you can also make passive income as well. So 2 ways that I make passive income in my business, meaning I don't have to exchange my time or energy to make money from it. 2 ways that I do that in my business. The first way is through ads, and the second way is through affiliates. First way is through ads. Second way is through affiliates. Actually, the first way is digital products, but we already talked about that. But ads and affiliates are 2 additional ways that I make passive income in my business. Now, I recently posted this on Instagram, but if you're not on Instagram, you wouldn't have seen it. But I actually did a breakdown of my income from, it was actually the first half of the year, on like a pie chart. And basically I show by percentage where my income comes from in my business. Majority of it comes from products, services, and then there's the passive income, the affiliates and ads. And the thing that I mentioned when it comes to ads, for instance, is when you are creating content for your business, because you have to create content for your business if you have an online business. That's the only way people are going to find you. When you're creating content, it needs to be more than just a marketing tool for you. It needs to have dual purposes. It needs to market for you, among other things, but it also needs to be able to earn you income. If I'm taking the time to create content, to create a post, to create a video, to create whatever it is that I'm doing online, that content needs to do multiple things. I need for it to be able to do multiple things besides just marketing. Your content needs to be another stream of income for you, is what I'm trying to get at, right? So when you think about how to make passive income, how to create multiple streams of income in your business, think about how can you leverage things in your business like your content to do more than one thing. And the way that I do that is through ads. Some of y'all may or may not know, I actually have a blog where I talk about personal finance. That's where many of you may have found me. That blog generates a significant amount of income each month from advertisement. And all I'm doing is writing blog posts. I was going to create content anyway, right? Because content is what's going to establish me as an expert. Content is what is going to be valuable to the audience that I serve. But while I'm doing that, I also wanted to be able to earn me income. You need to allow what you do in your business to serve multiple purposes, okay? You need to be able to do more with less things. Someone says, yes, work smarter, not harder. It's absolutely true. You need to work hard or smarter, not harder. So when I create content, the intent is yes to market. The intent is yes to establish myself as an expert. The intent is yes to provide valuable information to you as well, but also is to also make money from it in a passive way. So when you're creating your content, think about that. How can I leverage this in more than one way? Okay, so that's ads. The second way that I mentioned are affiliates. Affiliates. In your business, whatever, it doesn't matter what industry you're in, you're going to be using products and services. You're going to have things that you actually enjoy using, things that you would recommend. Get paid for that. Get paid for any recommendations that you make. And any products that you use that you think other people should be using. And that is another way that I'm able to make significant income in my business is through affiliates. This is another way to make passive income. When I'm teaching people how to create digital products, when I'm teaching people about personal finance apps, I'm going to recommend things that I truly, truly use and truly enjoy, But on the back end of that, me and that business got a deal going on that when I recommend someone else, I need to get some kind of kickback for it. Okay. So you need to be thinking about that. How can I implement affiliates into my business model so that I'm also able to make passive income that way? And the thing about affiliate marketing is it is marketing still. So you still need to have a strategy for how you're going to market that other person's products, so that you can make passive income for that. But it is a way to make passive income and monetize another way in your business. So the whole idea that we're trying to generate here is multiple streams of income within your business so that you're working smarter and you're making the most of what you have. You're doing more with less. You have less time. Sometimes you have less resources. So you have to be very strategic about what you put in your business and what you do in your business that's able to generate you income. Because at the end of the day, you're in business because you want to make money. So you need to be strategic about that with the time that you have, with the resources that you have, so that it can be effective. Okay? Focus on your expertise, create multiple streams of income, passive income sources. So we talked about digital products, ads, and affiliates. And then again, I talked about monetizing your content. Now, I talked about having a blog, but I also have a YouTube channel. And I know everyone's not into YouTube, but that's another way that you can monetize your content. Make multiple uses out of what you're doing. If you're going to spend your time creating content, if you're going to spend your time doing something, make sure it has a return on your investment. And that's the big key that I think overall is what you need to understand. There needs to be a return on investment for everything that you do in your business if you're going to exchange time to do it. If you have limited time, whatever you're doing needs to have a return on investment. That means you need to have a strategy for everything you do. I've said this before. There's a strategy around everything that I do in my business. There has to be some kind of return. Sometimes it's not always a monetary return. Sometimes it could be something else that leads up to a future monetary return. But there always needs to be some kind of return on investment on anything that you're doing with your business, because again, your time is limited and sometimes your resources are too. Okay, so those are my really big 3 points that I want you to focus on if you're trying to create a realistic model, a realistic business model for your online business. One, focus on your expertise, save yourself time, do what you know, and do what you do well. Makes it so much easier when you focus on that. The second thing is you want to create multiple streams of income in your business. You do want to have some kind of service that you offer, but that shouldn't be the only thing. And when you do offer a service, you need to price it at a point that's appropriate for your time. Do not undercharge yourself for your time. And I think a lot of women do that, but we'll just leave it at that. You also want to have products. My recommendation is to always have digital products because they are passive. You don't have to have inventory. You don't have to go to the store to ship anything. This is literally money that can be made in your sleep. And I always tell you guys a story about how I was able to sell products while I was in labor with my daughter. You can do that with digital products. Can't necessarily do that with physical products, but you can with digital products. So focus on creating some digital products that can create you passive income. And then also look for other ways to make passive income. I talked about having ads and monetizing your content. Make your content work for you. And not just be a marketing tool, but let it be something that has a monetary return on investment. And I also talked about having affiliates. Those things that you use in your business, those things that you highly recommend within the niche that you're in, monetize that. Become an affiliate so that you can get compensated for when you recommend that product or service to someone else. So those are the things that you need to focus on if you want to have a sustainable business as a mom. I know a lot of business coaches are teaching you guys to hustle. They're teaching you need to go live all the time. You always need to be on social media. You need to do this, that, and the other. And we just don't have that kind of time, especially if you're a working mom. So you have to be very strategic with your time and what you do in your business so that you can get the return on investment that you want. As always, if you found this episode helpful, don't forget to subscribe, share, and leave a review. And with that, I'll talk to you in the next episode.